Hello and welcome back to Advanced Hwoarang Lessons. We covered way too many mids, so let's talk about lows. So of course, down 3-4, single-handedly probably Hwoarang's best low. So it transitions you to right flamingo, and you can do a bunch of mix-ups, so on and so forth. You can connect it by putting the foot down, keeping the foot up, so on and so forth. And other lows such as like SS4, really strong, +5 force crouch, and then counter hit for the combo, and like a minimum of 65 damage. Another really good low would be like LFS down back 4 into guaranteed damage. But those two lows, while they are great, they are in heavy contention with a move from LFF. No, not down back 3. While this is a very important low, I wouldn't say it's like the second best low for Hwoarang. I'm talking about down back 4. Down back 4 or down back 4 back or down back 4 forward. This low right here that you're seeing could possibly be Hwoarang's second best low in his toolkit. So down back 4 over here is 16 frames. So that means it's essentially as fast as his homing move. And it's a standing low, which means it doesn't high crush just like that. So because down back 3 is a high crushing low, including down 4. So it's just like SS4 and LFS down back 4 and RFF down 4 and down 3-4. These are all standing lows. And what's great about it is that, he kind of just hooks his opponent's leg. And it's really fast. So you can really just walk up to your opponent and be like, oop, poke them. And they won't really see it coming. So it is -8 on hit. So you can't really press a button after this. If you do want to force the issue, feel free to back 1 or down jab. That's about it. Now, this is one of the few lows for Hwoarang that is -12 on block, which is a big deal. Which means you're not going to get punished super hard for pressing out a low, because SS4 is -13. Down 3-4, you already know how that gets punished. We'll go into much detail later. LFS down back 4 is also -12. RFF down 4 is -11. Down back 3 is -13. And of course, down 4 is -17, but everyone's always usually waiting for the second hit. So out of the lows that typically get used, like SS4 and down back 3, as you have access to them quite easily in LFF, they're both -13. So this is the only other low that's pretty safe on block. Like if you don't want to really risk something, you can just throw it out there, and if they punish you, it's like a wall standing 4 at worst, and typically at best at the same time. Now on counter hit, it does get something different. You're now -1. Of course, there's no way to tell whether it's counter hit or not. So you can just press a jab or a down jab and just see where that goes. I mean, it's the same thing with counter hit, RFF, DF4 into 2 back 4. You really just need to gain the experience to know whether it's a counter hit or not, or you visually confirm that your opponent was pressing a button. So if you are -1, your jab now becomes 11 frames, this becomes 14 frames, and this also becomes 14 frames. You can still press them, not a bad idea, but you will lose to your opponent's 13 frame mid, so just watch out for that. Now what does make this move special is the fact that it can transition to flamingo. You see, the frames change immediately. If on hit it was -8, it's now suddenly +3, just like 1-2-4, which means you can run the RFS F4 mix-up. Hooray! The other thing is that it becomes safe on block. It's -1. Well, that's safe in quotation marks, because again, your foot is up, right? You are vulnerable. But you can throw out RFS F4. And then on counter hit, you get a guaranteed RFS F4 into the RFS F4 mix-up. So let's talk about that block situation, right? -1. And then that you can throw out RFS F4 to prevent them from pressing if they block it. So I have it recorded here. So if I block it and I press, that's what happens. This is what makes this move pretty good. So if an opponent blocks a down back 4, they may just wait for you to enter flamingo or stand up to just block, because they don't know what's coming. Like, do I punish with the -12 or not? So it's like, okay, if I press a wall standing 4, I'm gonna get launched, right? Okay, so that means I should just hit them with a down jab, right? And an FC4. Now, if this wasn't Season 4, that is technically correct, because the only thing Hwoarang could do at that point was to RFS back 4. And RFS back 4 did lose to this move, I believe. I don't have that recorded, so let's record it here right now. So you get to see it in real time. Yeah. Of course, it does beat the Power Crush, but this always basically denied the RFS F4 mix-up. And since you do block it low, every character in the game just basically gets access to it, compared to it being like a standing one where Hwoarang does 1-2-4 into RFS F4, or RFS F4 by itself. You'd have to down 4 standing, or whatever your input is for your basic down 4. So that basically denied out Hwoarang. But since it's now Season 4, right? That OS, it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. So the opponent is pretty much left to Hwoarang's mercy here. But it looks like if you do mash your down jab immediately, you will beat RFS up forward 4. So that is something to note. But that's just a mix-up between RFS back 4 and RFS up forward 4. So that's what makes it tricky when you're trying to punish down back 4. It's like, okay, did they just do down back 4? Do I down jab? If I down jab, I'll lose the RFS back 4, but I'll beat RFS up forward 4. And if I do a basic down 4, I could lose out to a launch. So it's like losing out to a launch or losing out to like plus frames. Like, take your pick. So the opponent gets that mental stack, and sometimes you'll just get away with it for free. Like this gets blocked and nothing's gonna happen. But you are still negative 12. You gotta remember that. So even if nothing didn't happen, you're still negative 12. You cannot, I repeat, like just straight up press a button immediately. Take care and always make sure to adjust to how your opponent is reacting in that situation. So that's like the main thing when you're blocking it. So because down 3-4 is a little bit different, right? This is what makes it a little bit better, because as soon as you kind of like block the first hit of down 3-4, all you have to do is hit your basic down 4 or your down jab, and then you're good to go. It's not that hard for the opponent to figure out what they're supposed to do compared to punishing Hwoarang's down back 4. Now this move does have a second hit. It's called down back 4. And as you can see, that's a -1 on hit, and it's like -28 on whiff if the opponent does duck, and you're gonna get launched. But on counter hit, on hit, I believe, for the second hit, it does knock down. That pushes really, really far. If you just get the second hit only, you can dash up into a back 3 or a FF3. I think that's about it, because you can't get the right plasma blade, right? Yeah, you cannot get the right plasma blade off this one. However, on counter hit, you'll get all 3. So typically you're getting around 50 damage. This is the basic thing to do. Most reliable one in fact, because it beats out all of the stand-up options here, because this is unaffected. The opponent cannot use it, just to demonstrate. So if I hit Hwoarang with counter hit down back 4-4, it won't activate. So you can safely ignore this. So it's only these. And back 3 will beat out everything immediately. So you're not going to get a delayed launch or whatever. The next one is right plasma blade. So that's 53 damage. So we started at 50. Now we're at 53. And then the last one is FF3. 56 damage. So back 3 again is the most reliable follow-up after counter hit down back 4-4. F44 right plasma blade is very, very interesting. It's in between back 3 and FF3. And FF3 is probably the most reliable in terms of like earning damage. Like if you really need to kill your opponent, just press FF3. Provided you don't get an error in like F3. Because that does happen from time to time. You're not gonna get an error on the back 3. Now, what's interesting about the second option out of the 3 is that can also potentially get more damage than what FF3 can get. So that was against Wake Up backwards, right? You saw there, Hwoarang kind of just gets hit. The opposing Hwoarang, that is, right? Pretty much guaranteed. So if I change that to stand up, down back 4-4, also a launch. Throw it to front roll, also a launch. Side roll left. Oop, oop. Also a hit. Side roll right. A hit. Wake up mid kick. A hit. Wake up low. There we go. That's what I was waiting for. There you go. So if the opponent does press it. Oh, right. I was also waiting for that one. There's two things. Number one, you can either relaunch your opponent for them pressing a wake up low, or you lose versus wake up low. And wake up low applies to all these three options: wake up low kick, recovery kick, and spring kick, because it's axis dependent. So sometimes it will get the opponent depending on the axis, and then sometimes it just doesn't. So you have to like kind of like know how far out you are from your opponent, if it's gonna whiff or not. Maybe you can go by it frame by frame and be like, oh, okay, if the opponent lies down like this, then maybe it's not gonna hit. And if the opponent's lying down like this, then yeah, it's probably gonna hit. But you don't just get the relaunch off the wake up low. You actually can get it off the other options. So if I do it off, let's say, stand up. So I counter hit down back 4-4. If you just delay it a little bit. Oh. 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 Oh, it's just so fun. It's just so fun. It's just so fun. Of course, that timing I did there can actually be applied to the wake up low. Because you dash up into RFF first before doing the right plasma blade, and then now you get the... Oh, you get the launch. You get the launch into 81 damage. It's too strong. It also applies for wake up mid. However, if you use this timing, you will lose only... You'll only lose the side roll left. That's the good part. That's fine. So, there are two timings again. The first timing is dash up F3 plus 4 into right plasma blade immediately. Immediately, okay? The second timing is dash into right plasma blade. So if you do it immediately, you may only lose to wake up low. Again, you'll only lose to wake up low, recovery kick, and spring kick. If you do the second timing, you can get a potential relaunch on all the other options. And you'll launch these things, the kicks. And you'll only lose the side roll left. So choose what you want to make into your muscle memory, or change it depending on how your opponent reacts to you. Now, of course, this move is all over the place. Because not only is it something like you can just walk up and poke your opponent and like stay safe if they block it. And then if you do get the hit, you can reset immediately into RFF and then hit them with a shimmy or a down 3-4. It's also part of a lot of combos. So it's like the main combo filler for down back 4. So like that, 1, 2, 3. It's also the main combo filler for this back turn down 3. You can do it in like as a simple combo. Like there's just so much utility of down back 4, and that's in open, right? As a combo filler tailspin or combo filler ender. I mean, choice is yours. Take your pick. Like it can go in so many places, and it's also the most low hitting move, because this move, compared to the other lows, does hit grounded. So when you block a slide or anything like that, let's say King's dropkick or Armor King's dropkick, you just down back 4-4 and you're gonna get the launch. It's fantastic. And if your opponent is staying on the floor a little bit too much, and you don't want to press down 3-4 because you think that's gonna whiff, you don't want to enter the stance because you may get launched either way, even if those lows do hit grounded, and you don't want to do RFF either. Down back 3 could do the job, but again, it's slower by 3 frames, so you just down back 4. It's as simple as that. And they get pushed away too. I mean, same thing as down back 3. So you can just do that, like if you don't want to throw out a mid, because while standing 4 is not going to go in DF1. Back 3 is a little bit too risky, right? So just down back 4. It's so good. And it's just multi-purpose. I don't know, I've been gushing about this move for like the past minute or so. But I'll tell you how like to use it in offense, neutral, and defense for the last part. So if you're in neutral, naturally, you want to make it like super, super safe. So the safest thing you can do with a down back 4 in neutral is like just walk up, throw it up, backdash, and mix it up with like while standing 4. So let's say you do like a wave while standing 4, wave down back 4, and then wave down wave JFSR. Very simple. That's like kind of like what you want to do in neutral with the move. And then you can mix that up now with SS4, down 3-4. Again, you can attach almost everything. Again, it's just like you're going to see it come full circle once more. Like, oh, everything from advanced Hwoarang lessons, everything from open Hwoarang lessons. Oh, I can do it in like one move and then attach it, combine it. Yeah, it's fun. It's a puzzle piece. Then if you're in offense, you can down back 4 forward immediately, or down back 4 back, whichever way you prefer to enter Flamingo. Let's say you 1-2 into RFS2 or LFS1. and you know your opponent's looking for down 3-4 more often than not. So you hit them with a faster, slightly faster low, right? In 16 frames, down back 4, and then enter Flamingo. So hit them up with change the timings, and then down back 4 instead of doing down 3-4. Of course, if the opponent is looking too low, then at that point you just hit them with the mids. But it can throw them off because it's like, oh, okay, do you remember the frame data on that one? And then depending on how they challenge, right? So you have more ways to continue pressure. Like how does your sequence look? Like how long can you continue staying in front of your opponent, right? Like that. And then in defense, it's technically a lot closer to neutral. But it's like you're just gonna like down back 4 and then move away. That's it. Down back 4, back 1. I don't know. Like if you can hit them without a surprise. If the opponent does press a button. Or down back 4 back. Down back 4 back. And then keep the foot up. Try to see if there's a reaction or not. And then just let the foot go down naturally. Or RFS 2 or RFS F4 to deter them. And then press the 2 to put the foot down. And then just backdash away. So you're really just going to keep your opponent on their toes. And then the moment they commit to something, you're going to hit them hard for it. So yeah, that's probably what I think to be the second best low in Hwoarang's arsenal. End screen's going to be on the other side of the screen as per usual for the next advanced Hwoarang lessons. And I'll see you there when it does drop.